What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ajax Reviews. As you can tell, things look a little bit different around here, but that's okay. We're just evolving. Today, we're going to be reviewing Return of the Living Dead. Before I get too far into the review, guys, make sure you like, comment down below under the video, and subscribe. Share this with your friends to help us grow. Thank you, I appreciate it. Directed by Dan O'Bannon. When two bumbling employees at a medical supply warehouse accidentally release a deadly gas into the air, the vapors cause the dead to rise again as zombies. So the movie opens up with Freddy starting his new job. His new boss, Frank, is showing him around the warehouse, showing him different things, skeletons and dogs and butterflies and things like this, even a cadaver. So the two are discussing various things, which eventually turns to talking about zombies from the old Night of the Living Dead movie. Frank tells Freddy that they have some of the old trioxin barrels down in the basement. Freddy doesn't believe him, so they go down and they look at it. They end up releasing the gas, knocking themselves out, and all hell is about to erupt. I mean, you smacked the side of the tank. What the hell did you think was going to happen? In the meantime, Freddy's girlfriend Tina and all their punk rock friends head over to the cemetery across the street to party until Freddy gets off of work. So Frank and Freddy wake up and realize immediately things have gone goofy. The split dogs are barking, butterflies are flapping the wings, and most importantly, the cadaver is alive. I mean, you gotta love the half dogs just barking. And it starts yiping when he fucking hits it with the thing. That's great. Trash, who's played by the awesome Linnea Quigley, starts talking about this fantasy that she has about being surrounded by a group of older men and then them tearing her apart.
And eating me alive.
I see.
She starts stripping off her clothes and jumps upon a tomb and starts dancing naked. So, back at the warehouse, Frank calls his boss, Bert, who's the owner of the warehouse. He comes back down. They show him the cadaver. Bert's like, what the hell did you guys do? So, they let the cadaver out and then, boom, pickaxe to the head. But it doesn't die.
It worked in the movie! Well, it ain't working now, Frank. You mean the movie lied?
The movie lied. So Bert cuts off the cadaver's head, and the fucking body gets up and just starts running amok around the warehouse, bumping into shit, knocking things over. Eventually, they have to cut the body up into a bunch of pieces, throw it in trash bags, and Bert gets the idea of taking it across the street to the crematorium to his friend Ernie. Bert? Ernie? Bert? Ernie? Okay. So Bert tells Ernie... Can't get over that.
What the hell is in those bags?
Rabid weasels.
Rabid weasels. Ernie's not buying it, so eventually he opens the bags and shows him what's inside. In the meantime, Tina heads over to the warehouse because it's about time for Freddy to get off work and finds nobody there. After a lot of discussion, Ernie decides, all right, I'll burn the bodies, but you owe me. So it's about this time, as they're burning the bodies, that Freddy and Frank are not looking so hot. So as the bodies are burning, the toxic smoke is flying up into the air, hitting the atmosphere. It starts to rain, bringing the now liquid trioxin back down to the ground, soaking into the ground and into the corpses below. Now, Bert and Ernie now realize they have a bigger problem because Frank and Freddy are extremely sick from breathing in the deadly trioxin gas.
I feel like hell is what's wrong. I'm really sick.
I'm sick too, Bert.
So Tina's still at the warehouse looking for Freddy. She finds his hat and heads down into the basement. She comes in contact with the most iconic zombie in movie history, Tarman. So she's running from Tarman. During this time, the other friends run over to the warehouse because they got caught in the rain and the rain is burning their skin. They go down into the basement. Suicide gets de-brained by Tarman, allowing Tina and the rest of the friends to escape and run back across the street to the cemetery. So now the paramedics show up. They examine Frank and Freddy, and they think it's their equipment at first, but then they soon realize they're a lot worse than sick. They're dead. So Tina and her friends are back at the cemetery where they now witness one of the most iconic scenes in cinema where the dead rise from the graves. So now Trash finds herself being surrounded, just like in her fantasy, by a bunch of, I guess you could call them old, men who now tear her apart. So now everybody's splitting up again. You got Casey and Chuck who run back to the warehouse, and then you have Spider, Tina, and Scuzz hanging around in the cemetery getting into the mortuary. So Ernie comes out, he wants to steal one of the paramedic vans. As he gets there, he sees a zombie eating the paramedic's brain, was like, nope, he turns around and goes back inside the mortuary. So now things are starting to pick up. They're trying to board up the mortuary. The zombies are trying to get in. It's kind of a back and forth going on. Shit's just really going crazy.
Come in dispatch. Send more paramedics.
So they get their wish. More paramedics show up and they get annihilated immediately by a giant group of zombies. So zombies are starting to get into the mortuary. Scuzz ends up getting killed by another iconic zombie. And they learn that eating brains takes away their pain. Takes away the pain. I mean, just pop an Advil. I mean, that doesn't contain human brains, does it? Let's see who's got that. Human brains. Holy shit. That's why it works. Now, Trash is back as a zombie and she takes out a curb creature. Or if you want to be politically correct, a homeless person. So they move Freddy and Frank into the chapel inside the mortuary so they can't hurt anybody else. Tina's like, no, I'm staying with Freddy. Dumbass. So now cops finally show up after all this time and they get destroyed. So now Frank and Freddy have both turned. Freddy's chasing Tina around the chapel as Frank kind of sneaks out the door. So now Bert and Spider end up stealing a police car, finally. And they drive it for about, 5 seconds before smacking into the damn wall of the warehouse. Then you have Tina and Ernie hiding from Freddy up in the attic at the mortuary. Then we get this scene, kind of sad, of Frank cremating himself and leaving his ring behind. Kind of sad. So now more cops show up and they just get annihilated immediately, just like the paramedics did. So now Freddy's trying to sweet talk Tina into letting him eat her brains. That's some good shit.
I forgive you, darling. And I know you're here.
So back in the warehouse, Bert takes out Tarman with a swing of the baseball bat, knocking his head off. They finally are able to call the military. Gets a hold of Colonel Glover, who now initiates a strike to blow the bloody hell out of the entire area. And that's how the movie ends. Shonen. Now it's time to discuss the things that I liked. Hell, what's not to like? I've watched this movie over 50 times and I've never gotten bored of it. I have as much fun watching this movie now than I did way back when it came out watching it the first time. I mean, the movie was filled with iconic scenes that helped define the horror and zombie movies in the 1980s. From Linnea Quigley dancing naked on top of the tomb to the zombies rising from the grave. It's just all there. This movie has everything. I mean, come on. The music was great. The cast was great. The zombies look cool. It's just fun. Now for the things that I disliked. No movie is perfect. But what horror fan needs perfection to love a movie? So if I have to choose one part that I dislike, it's going to have to be the ending. The reason for this is because since the zombies can't die, the writers kind of wrote themselves into a corner. So they had to end the movie the way they did. So in conclusion, I love this movie. I always have. It's one of my most cherished zombie films. And after watching this again, I look forward to reviewing part 2. And yes, I recommend the hell out of this movie. If you've never seen it, you should be ashamed of yourself. And you need to rectify that as soon as possible and watch this right now. I give this movie a 5 out of 5. And that's going to do it for me for today, guys. Until next time, stay smart, stay clean, keep the dream. Don't let the man get you down, because if he does, he might call a nuclear strike on your ass and blow you up. That wouldn't be fun.